didn't parade about in a stiff-pointed collar and cravat. But he'd learned long ago that people saw what they wanted to see, and he used it to his advantage. "Your promises are impossible to resist." Bending down to lift her vellum-skinned hand to his lips, he stared soulfully into her eyes. "Run away with me, Bess." She snatched her hand back and cackled, spots of colour tinging her wrinkled cheeks, her breath misting in the air beneath the flickering glow of the lantern. "Get on with you now, brandy gent. I've said before I'm too much of a woman for you. Now take your posies before there's nothing left of 'em. Of course," she hesitated, holding tightly to the limp string-tied bunches, her thin brows inching higher with meaning. "Should you ever need a new cook for your fancy pile of bricks, you know where to find me." Believing this was her way of negotiating for more coin, he fished a bob out of his pocket and dropped it into her waiting palm. She bit down on the tarnished silver token before sliding it into her frayed grey bodice. "Aye, you'll be the first on my list." Then he tipped his hat and went on his way. Once he was out of sight, he stowed the flowers in his pocket. The women working at the bawdy house wouldn't appreciate the disrespect of wilted flowers, but buying them helped Bess gain a meal or two while still keeping her dignity. Raven knew from experience that sometimes pride was all a person possessed. Keeping a watchful eye, he walked on, not letting the stillness of these early hours fool him into complacency. Even so, London almost seemed like a cathedral at this time of morning, hushed and reverent. On the street, a dingy yellow hackney lumbered by in a solitary procession, disappearing into the congregating fog towards some unseen altar. It chanted in a disembodied clip-clop-clip of horse hooves and rang bells of rigging. The sounds reverberated off the shingle and brick facades of boarding houses and shop fronts that stood tall like pew boxes filled with sinners, and the incense that burned to purify the worshippers was little more than the charred, heavy soot that sifted down from chimney tops and mingled with the damp, fetid odours rising from the gutter. He drew it deeply into his soul, the sounds, the scents, and the sights of his world. Raven's steps took him beneath a trio of painted wooden signs that hung from curlicues of wrought iron in front of darkened shop windows while their proprietors slept above stairs. Here, houses, rented flats, and shops intermingled. All of a man's necessities were within a short stretch of the legs: a barber, a tailor, a mercer, and a pleasure house. Yet Moll Dawson didn't hang a sign out front, not even a placard. She didn't have to. Moll ran the most exclusive brothel in London, catering solely to haute society knobs. Strictly invitation only. She even spun a tale that her girls had never been touched by common hands and were trained by courtesans from all over the world. Raven was as common as soot. But 3 years ago, when he'd started working at Sterling's gaming hell, Moll had approached him with a secret bargain. She'd grant him admittance to her infamous gilded parlour, with girls draped in silks and bathed in perfumes, as long as he directed the high-stakes winners at Sterling's to her establishment instead of her rivals. After being spat upon by foppish aristocrats all his life, the offer was too tempting for Raven to refuse. So whenever he came to Moll's entertainment emporium, as she liked to call it, he dressed the part. He even mimicked the gestures and the air of supremacy that he witnessed at the gaming hell. But she never let him forget his place. He was allowed inside solely by the favour of her graces. It shouldn't have made any difference to him. After all, a man with such humble beginnings shouldn't expect anything better. And yet, something inside him had always wanted more. Raven tucked that thought away, as he usually did, and paused in the shadows near the narrow ginnel between buildings, taking careful measure of his surroundings. Outside the bawdy house, a pair of fine black carriages waited, the bobbing orange glow of a cheroot signalling a driver's position high on a perch. The main floor windows were dark behind the drawn curtains, but lamplight flickered beyond the first and second floor shades. Faint stirrings of music drifted down, along with the